When I was a child, my world felt simple. I believed that the woman who cooked for me, hugged me when I cried, and held my hand on the way to school was my real mother. Her name was Anna. She was warm, gentle, and sometimes strict, but her love seemed endless. To me, she was everything a mother should be. But as I grew older, small cracks appeared in that picture. People in the neighborhood sometimes whispered strange things. "She looks nothing like Anna," I once overheard at the market. I asked Anna what they meant, and she smiled, brushing the comment away. "People talk too much," she said. I trusted her, but inside, something began to feel uncertain. My childhood was not rich, but it was safe. We lived in a small house with 2 bedrooms and a tiny garden where we grew vegetables. Anna worked long hours cleaning houses, yet she always found time for me. Every evening, she would sit beside me and ask about my day. She taught me values I still hold: honesty, hard work, and kindness. Looking back, I realize how much effort it took for her to raise me alone. But at the time, I didn't question it. Still, there were moments I couldn't explain. I had no baby photos before the age of 2. Whenever I asked about my father, Anna's answers were vague. "He's gone. You don't need to worry," she'd say quickly, changing the subject. Sometimes at night, when she thought I was asleep, I could hear her crying quietly in her room. By the time I turned 16, my questions became harder to ignore. At school, when we studied genetics, I noticed that Anna's features were completely different from mine. Her hair was light brown, while mine was dark and almost black. Her eyes were green, but mine were deep brown. Teachers joked about family resemblance, and each time I laughed nervously, pretending it didn't matter. But inside, I felt a storm building. One afternoon, I decided to look through the old wooden box under Anna's bed. It was where she kept important papers. My hands trembled as I opened it. Inside, I found bills, letters, and a small envelope with my name on it. When I pulled out the paper inside, I froze. It was my birth certificate. And under Mother's name, it didn't say Anna. It was another name I had never seen before. My chest felt tight. I put everything back quickly before Anna returned home. That evening at dinner, I could barely eat. My mind was spinning with questions. Who was this other woman? Why did Anna raise me as her own? And why had she never told me the truth? I lay awake all night, listening to the sound of the clock ticking on the wall. Every second felt heavier than the last. The woman I had called Mother for 16 years, was she really just a stranger? The next morning, I couldn't look at Anna the same way. Her smile, her voice, the way she prepared breakfast for me, it all felt different, like a mask hiding something I wasn't supposed to see. I wanted to ask her immediately about the name on the birth certificate, but fear held me back. What if the truth was something I couldn't handle? For days, I carried the secret inside me. At school, I found it hard to concentrate. I kept thinking about the missing puzzle pieces of my life. Who was my real mother? Why did Anna raise me instead? Did my real mother abandon me, or was there more to the story? Finally, one evening, I gathered enough courage. Anna was sitting in the kitchen, folding laundry. Her face looked tired, but her eyes softened when she saw me. I sat across from her, my heart racing. "Anna, I began, my voice shaky. I found something. I found my birth certificate. Her hands stopped moving. For a moment, the silence was so heavy that I could hear my own breathing. Then she placed the clothes aside and looked at me with eyes filled with sadness. I knew this day would come, she whispered. Tears filled my eyes before I even knew the truth. So it's true? You're not my mother? Anna took a deep breath. No, I'm not your biological mother, but I have been your mother in every way I could. My chest felt like it was collapsing. Then who is my real mother? Where is she? Anna hesitated, as if choosing each word carefully. Your real mother was very young when she had you. She couldn't take care of you, not the way you needed. She was lost, struggling, and she made a choice to let me raise you. Her words hit me like waves. Part of me felt angry, betrayed. Another part of me felt an unexpected sadness for a woman I had never met. But the strongest feeling of all was confusion. You should have told me earlier, I said, my voice breaking. I had the right to know.
I wanted to protect you, Anna said softly. You were just a baby when she left. I promised myself I would give you love, stability, and a chance at life. I thought maybe if I gave you enough love, you would never need to ask. Her words were sincere, but they didn't erase the ache in my heart. I stood up from the table, my hands trembling. I don't know what to feel right now, I admitted. That night, I went to bed, but couldn't sleep. My mind kept repeating her words. She made a choice to let me raise you. Was it really a choice? Or had my real mother simply abandoned me? Over the next weeks, the distance between Anna and me grew. She still cooked for me, still asked about my day, but I answered with short sentences. I couldn't look at her the same way. Every time I did, I saw both the woman who raised me and the stranger who kept a secret from me. One Saturday, Anna sat me down again. You deserve to know more, she said gently. Your real mother's name is Laura. She was only 17 when she gave birth to you. She came from a broken family with no support. She thought giving you to me was the best chance for you to have a stable life. I listened, silent. She didn't disappear completely, Anna continued. Every year on your birthday, she would send a small letter or a card. She asked me not to show them until you were ready. I've kept them safe all these years. Anna walked to the bedroom and returned with a box. Inside were envelopes, each with my name written in handwriting I didn't recognize. My hands shook as I opened the first one. Happy first birthday, my sweet child. I'm sorry I can't be there to hold you, but I think of you every day. Tears blurred my vision. I opened another one. You're 5 now. I imagine you running, laughing. I hope Anna is giving you the love I couldn't. Letter after letter, year after year, I discovered the voice of a woman who was both near and far, present and absent. I couldn't stop crying.
For the first time, I realized my story wasn't about betrayal alone. It was also about sacrifice, pain, and love in a different form. That night, Anna sat beside me as I held the letters. "I know it hurts," she said, "but I hope one day you can see that you were never unwanted. You were loved, just in a complicated way." Her words stayed with me. Love in a complicated way. Maybe that was the truth of my life. But deep inside, another feeling began to grow. A need to find Laura, to see her face, to ask her directly why she left. I knew my journey was only beginning. The letters stayed in my room for weeks. Every night, I read them again and again, as if each word could bring me closer to the woman who gave me life. The handwriting felt familiar after a while, almost like a voice speaking directly to me. Sometimes I felt comforted, but other times I felt angry. How could she write so many loving words, yet never show up in person? Finally, I decided I needed answers. Reading letters wasn't enough. I wanted to see her face, hear her voice, and ask the questions that had haunted me for years. One evening, I told Anna my decision. "I want to find her," I said firmly. Her eyes filled with worry. "Are you sure you're ready for that?" "I don't know if I'm ready, but I need to know. I need to see her at least once." Anna sighed and nodded slowly. "I understand. I kept her contact information just in case you ever asked. But promise me something. No matter what you discover, remember that she is human. She made mistakes, but she also carried love for you." The next day, Anna handed me a small slip of paper with an address and a phone number. My hands trembled as I held it. The name written on the paper, Laura M., felt both strange and familiar. For several days, I couldn't bring myself to call. I carried the paper everywhere, even to school, but my courage failed each time I looked at it. What if she didn't want to see me? What if she regretted writing those letters? Or worse, what if she had moved on with a new family and forgotten about me? Finally, one quiet Sunday morning, I sat on my bed with the phone in my hand. My heart pounded so hard, I thought it would break. I dialed the number with trembling fingers. The phone rang once, twice, then a woman's voice answered. "Hello?" I froze. Her voice was gentle, but unfamiliar. I swallowed hard. "Hi, is this Laura?" "Yes, this is she. Who's speaking?" My throat felt dry. For a moment, I wanted to hang up. But then I whispered, "It's me, your son." There was silence on the other end. I could hear her breathing, shaky and uneven. Then, suddenly, she began to cry. "Oh my God, is it really you? I never thought you would call." Tears rolled down my face. "I found the letters," I said. "Anna showed me." "Oh, Anna, she is an angel. I owe her everything." We spoke for nearly an hour. She told me how young and lost she had been, how she had no family to support her and no money to raise a child. "I loved you," she said, But I thought giving you to Anna was the only way you could have a chance at life. Her words touched me, but they also hurt. Why didn't you ever come to see me? I asked. I was afraid, she admitted. Afraid you would hate me. Afraid I would ruin the life Anna gave you. So I stayed away, but I never stopped loving you. I thought of you every single day. Something inside me softened, though the pain remained. Can we meet? I asked quietly. There was silence, then a hopeful whisper. Yes, please. I've waited for this moment for so long. We agreed to meet the following weekend at a small cafe in the city. The days leading up to it felt endless. I couldn't focus on anything else. My emotions shifted constantly. Excitement, fear, anger, hope. At night, I imagined what she might look like, what she might say, how I would feel when I finally saw her face. When the day arrived, I dressed carefully, though my hands shook as I buttoned my shirt. Anna offered to come with me, but I shook my head. I need to do this alone. She hugged me tightly, whispering, "No matter what happens, I am always your mother."
At the cafe, I arrived early and sat near the window. My heart raced every time the door opened. Then, finally, a woman walked in. She looked nervous, holding her purse close to her chest. Her hair was dark like mine, and her eyes were the same deep brown I saw in the mirror every day. I knew immediately it was her. She spotted me and froze for a moment, tears welling up in her eyes. Then she walked toward me slowly, as if afraid I might disappear. "Hi," she whispered, her voice trembling. "Hi," I replied, my throat tight with emotion. For a moment, we just looked at each other. Then she reached out, her hand shaking, and I let her hold mine. Tears streamed down both our faces. "I've waited so long for this," she said softly. "So have I," I whispered. We talked for hours that day. She told me about her struggles, her regrets, her dreams. I told her about my life with Anna, about school, about the confusion and pain I had carried for years. There were no perfect answers, but there was honesty. As the sun began to set, she looked at me with tears in her eyes, and she said, "I don't expect you to forgive me right away. I just want the chance to know you, to be a part of your life, even if it's only a small part." I nodded, my heart heavy but open. I said, "I don't know what the future will look like, but I want to try." When we parted that evening, I felt a strange mix of emotions: pain, relief, hope, and fear. But above all, I felt that a missing piece of my life had finally been found. After meeting Laura for the first time, my life changed in ways I could not fully explain. The questions that had haunted me for years were no longer unanswered, but the answers brought new challenges. I now had two women in my life, one who had given me life and one who had given me love. Balancing those truths was not easy. At first,
I saw Laura only in small steps. We would meet for coffee or walk in the park together. She wanted to know everything about me: my favorite books, my school subjects, my friends, my dreams. Sometimes her curiosity felt overwhelming, but I reminded myself that she had missed so many years. She was trying to catch up. But at home, things with Anna were different. She tried to hide her feelings, but I could see the worry in her eyes. She feared losing me. One evening, I found her sitting quietly in the garden, staring at the flowers she had planted years ago. I sat beside her, and for a moment, neither of us spoke. "Anna," I said gently, "meeting Laura doesn't change how I feel about you. You raised me. You are my mother." She turned to me, her eyes shining with tears. "I know, but I can't help being afraid. I gave you everything I had, and now I wonder if it will ever be enough compared to the bond of blood." I held her hand tightly. "You gave me more than blood. You gave me life in another way. The life I live today. I will never forget that." She smiled through her tears, and I knew those words mattered to her. But deep down, I also knew she still carried fear. As time passed, I decided both women needed to meet. It felt wrong to keep them apart, as if I were living in two different worlds. So one Sunday afternoon, I invited Laura to our home. Anna hesitated at first, but finally agreed. When Laura arrived, the air was heavy with tension. Anna opened the door, her face calm but guarded. Laura stood nervously, holding a small bouquet of flowers. "Hello, Anna," Laura said softly. "Thank you for everything." For a moment, she simply looked at her. Then she stepped aside and let her in. We sat in the living room, and the silence was almost unbearable. Finally, Anna spoke. "I raised him as my own, but I always knew this day would come. He deserved to know the truth." Laura nodded, her eyes full of gratitude. "I will never be able to repay you. You gave him a life I could not. I made mistakes, but I never stopped loving him." Something shifted in the room at that moment. Instead of enemies, I saw two women bound together by love for the same child, me. We talked for hours that day. There were tears, apologies, and even laughter when they shared small stories about me. How stubborn I was as a child, how I hated vegetables, how I once tried to run away but returned after only 2 hours because I missed home. For the first time, I felt whole. In the months that followed, my relationship with both women began to grow. With Anna, I found stability, wisdom, and the comfort of years of care. With Laura, I discovered my roots, my history, and the missing pieces of my identity. I learned that love is not limited by biology. Love can be chosen, given, and grown. But it was not always easy. There were moments of jealousy, misunderstandings, and pain. Sometimes Anna felt left out, other times Laura felt like an outsider. I had to learn patience, to reassure them both that they mattered to me in different but equally important ways. One evening, on my 18th birthday, we all sat together at the dinner table. There was a cake, candles, and laughter. When I looked around, I saw both of my mothers sitting side by side. It wasn't perfect, but it was real. After dinner, I stood up and raised my glass of juice. "I want to say something," I began. Both women looked at me, curious. "I used to feel broken because I didn't know where I belonged. I thought I had to choose between the woman who raised me and the woman who gave me life. But now I realize I don't have to choose. I am lucky. I have two mothers, and both of you have shaped who I am. For that, I am grateful."